What if I told you that most millionaires don't live in mansions or drive luxury cars? That they don't flaunt their wealth yet quietly build massive fortunes right under your nose? Welcome to Invested Intellect, where today we're uncovering the hidden truths from the Millionaire Next Door, one of the most eye-opening books about real wealth in America. This book shatters the myths about money and success, showing how everyday people, just like you and me, quietly become millionaires through smart choices, discipline, and habits you won't hear about on TV. Get ready to rethink everything you know about wealth, spending, and what it really takes to become financially free. Stick around, because your path to true wealth might start with the secrets you're about to learn. Chapter 1. Meet the Millionaire Next Door. The research begins. Stanley and Danko started by researching how wealthy people really live. They conducted interviews, surveys, and data analysis on actual millionaires in America, not just the ultra-rich, but everyday millionaires with a net worth of over $1 million. And guess what? They discovered that the typical millionaire is a 50-something business owner who lives in a modest neighborhood, drives a used car, and spends far less than he earns. The shocking reality: these millionaires rarely spend on luxury brands, avoid showing off their wealth, live in middle-class or even working-class neighborhoods, buy used cars, often hold them for years, and hate monthly payments. They don't look rich because they're not trying to impress anyone. Their focus is financial independence, not social status. Who they really are. Most of the millionaires profiled are self-employed business owners, plumbers, dry cleaners, contractors, etc. First-generation wealthy. They did not inherit money. Savers, investors, and planners. Parents who teach their kids financial discipline, not entitlement. Many of them reported having never paid more than $400 for a suit, never buying luxury watches or designer shoes, living in the same home for decades. The core takeaway: high income does not equal high net worth. A person can earn $250,000 a year and still be broke, while someone earning $75,000 could be a millionaire through disciplined saving. Key term: UAW versus PAW. The authors introduce a critical concept: PAW, prodigious accumulator of wealth. Someone who has saved and invested far more than expected for their age and income. UAW, under-accumulator of wealth. Someone who spends too much and saves too little, despite a good income. They even provide a formula to calculate your expected net worth. Expected net worth equals your age times your annual income, divided by 10. If your actual net worth is more than this, you're a PAW. If it's less, you're a UAW. This one formula changed how people view wealth, not by income, but by what you've kept and grown. Why most people fail to become wealthy. The average person makes 3 huge mistakes. 1. They equate wealth with income. Just because someone earns more doesn't mean they're rich. 2. They fall into the status trap. They spend to look rich instead of becoming rich. 3. They never develop financial discipline. No budget, no savings, no investing. The Millionaire Next Door, on the other hand, keeps a detailed monthly budget, avoids debt unless it's strategic, like real estate, keeps their lifestyle low even as income grows. Real millionaires are boring, and that's the point. Real millionaires buy tools instead of toys, eat out less, delay gratification, prefer financial freedom over short-term pleasures. 80% of American millionaires are first-generation rich, meaning they didn't inherit wealth, they built it slowly. As Stanley writes, it's easier to become wealthy if you don't try to look wealthy. So while others are chasing Instagram clout, the Millionaire Next Door is quietly building a fortune right under our noses. So here's the big idea from Chapter 1. Millionaires are often the quiet, disciplined neighbors you'd never expect. They don't wear wealth, they grow it. And now, here's something to think about. If becoming wealthy is about behavior, not income, then what specific behaviors separate future millionaires from everyone else? That's exactly what we explore in Chapter 2, Frugal, 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 where we uncover the surprising spending habits that build real wealth. Chapter 2, Frugal, Frugal, Frugal. Thomas Stanley and William Danko make it clear: if you want to build wealth, you must develop the habit of living below your means. Not just once, not for a year, but as a lifelong mindset. Most people believe that millionaires love to spend, but the author's data revealed the opposite. The typical millionaire rarely spends extravagantly, rarely upgrades their lifestyle with every income jump, often lives in a modest home, even decades after becoming wealthy. Many of the millionaires profiled had the means to buy luxury cars, wear expensive watches, or live in high-end neighborhoods, but chose not to. Why? Because they associate financial freedom with control, not consumption. The foundation of frugality, Stanley and Danko identified that consistent, long-term wealth accumulation requires defense, not just offense. It's not just about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. Millionaires develop a strong financial defense system, low living expenses, delayed gratification, avoiding debt and financing, controlled spending, especially on status items. One shocking stat from the chapter: most millionaires spend less than 7% of their income on luxury items, even when they can afford much more. They view spending as strategic, not emotional. How they buy. When millionaires do buy something, they research, compare, negotiate, and never rush. They don't impulse buy luxury. They don't shop to impress others. For example, they often drive cars that are 3 to 5 years old, fully paid off. Many shop at discount stores or wait for sales. They rarely dine at expensive restaurants or stay in luxury hotels. Most importantly, they budget. They have spending plans. They know where every dollar goes. They track their expenses and avoid lifestyle creep. To outsiders, this might seem boring, but to millionaires, it's freedom. The role of family. One fascinating insight. Millionaires often raise children with strong financial values, teaching them to work, save, and be self-reliant. They avoid giving too many gifts, paying for every expense, or making life too easy. Why? Because they know that frugality is a learned behavior. If children don't learn how to manage money, they'll lose it, even if they inherit millions. This mindset of frugality is passed down intentionally, not through lectures, but by example. The Millionaire Next Door teaches their kids by living the values they preach. The world versus the wealthy. Here's the irony. The media shows us images of wealth, luxury cars, yachts, big homes, designer clothes. But real millionaires avoid these very things because they know the truth. Spending money to look rich is the fastest way to stay broke. Meanwhile, the people quietly building wealth are driving used Hondas, wearing practical clothes, taking family vacations on a budget, avoiding lifestyle debt. Frugality isn't scarcity thinking, it's freedom-focused thinking. It's what allows people to invest, grow, and eventually live life on their own terms without worrying about bills, inflation, or job security. So what did we learn in Chapter 2? That frugality is not a personality flaw, it's a financial strategy. Millionaires aren't rich because they spend like the wealthy. They're rich because they don't. Now here's a question to think about. If real wealth is built on frugality, how do millionaires actually spend the money they choose to spend? In other words, what do they consider worth the money? That's what we'll uncover in Chapter 3, Time, Energy, and Money. Chapter 3, Time, Energy, and Money. Stanley and Danko make a powerful point. You can't build wealth without deliberately managing your time and energy. Why? Because every financial decision you make, what to buy, how much to save, where to invest, takes mental effort. And millionaires understand this. They don't just let life happen to them. They plan. They prioritize. They protect their focus. The book shares that high net worth individuals spend twice as much time on financial planning than non-millionaires. They review budgets regularly, monitor investments, research tax strategies, plan ahead for major expenses. It's not luck. It's discipline plus focus over time. Millionaire time habits. Instead of spending weekends at the mall or scrolling endlessly through online shopping apps, most millionaires are reading about markets, attending financial seminars, meeting with advisors, teaching their children about money. They value learning. They treat their attention like an asset. One major theme in this chapter is how millionaires avoid distractions that drain their mental bandwidth. They say no to activities that don't move them closer to their long-term goals. They believe you can always earn more money, but once time is gone, it's gone. Energy management. Managing energy is just as important. Ever notice how draining it is to live paycheck to paycheck? It consumes your thoughts, your confidence, and your peace. Millionaires avoid this by creating financial systems that reduce stress, automatic savings, investment schedules, clear goals and boundaries. They also avoid emotional decisions, especially when it comes to money. Millionaires often have a calm, analytical approach because they know that every emotional mistake costs energy, and those small leaks drain you over time. This mindset frees them to spend energy where it matters most: growing, thinking, leading, and improving. They buy time. Here's the twist. Millionaires do spend money, but they do it to buy time, not status. Examples: hiring help for tasks they can delegate, investing in tools that make them more productive, outsourcing things that don't require their direct input. They ask themselves, is this task worth my time and attention? Or can this time be used for something that grows my wealth or improves my life? That's why many wealthy people don't mow their own lawn, clean their own car, or do every task themselves. Not out of laziness, but because they understand value. They know that time and energy, once wasted, can never be recovered, but money can be earned, grown, and protected. The real wealth equation. This chapter challenges the old belief that money alone equals wealth. Instead, Stanley and Danko suggest that real wealth is a balance. Time plus energy plus money equals freedom, and it starts with intentional decisions. Millionaires don't chase more money at any cost. They design their lives around freedom, focus, and long-term peace of mind. If you want to become wealthy, don't just ask, how can I earn more? Ask, how can I manage my time and energy better today? Because your calendar tells the real story of your wealth-building journey. So here's what Chapter 3 teaches us. Wealth isn't just about income or investments. It's about what you do every single day, with your thoughts, your attention, your hours. But here's a question. If most millionaires are first-generation wealthy, how exactly did they escape the consumer trap while their peers didn't? In Chapter 4, You Aren't What You Drive, we'll explore the myths of materialism and why what you own might be silently holding you back from wealth. Chapter 4, You Aren't What You Drive: Secrets of Everyday Millionaires. Car culture versus wealth culture. Most people assume that the rich drive luxury cars, new Mercedes, BMWs, Porsches. But according to the author's research, that image is completely false for most real millionaires. In fact, they found that over 80% of millionaires drive cars that are not considered luxury brands. Nearly 50% of millionaires have never leased a car. Most drive cars that are 2 to 5 years old, fully paid off. So why is there such a big gap between what we think millionaires drive and what they actually drive? Because most people chase status. But millionaires chase value. They understand that the real cost of an expensive car isn't just the price tag, it's the lost opportunity. Every dollar spent on a flashy vehicle is a dollar not invested toward freedom. The Financial Trap of Luxury Vehicles. The book breaks it down clearly. Luxury vehicles come with higher insurance premiums, higher maintenance and repair costs, lower long-term reliability, faster depreciation, emotional pressure to upgrade again and again. In short, it's a wealth drain disguised as status. Most high-income, non-wealthy people, what the authors call UAWs, under accumulators of wealth, spend more on cars than PAWs, prodigious accumulators of wealth. Why? Because they want to look successful, not be successful. They equate success with appearance, not assets. But the millionaires next door think differently. They'd rather drive a Toyota and invest the difference, because freedom matters more than attention. How real millionaires choose their cars. So how do millionaires actually decide which car to buy? Simple. They think like investors, not consumers. They ask, will this vehicle serve my needs without hurting my financial goals? Is it reliable, safe, and affordable? Will it hold value over time? Can I pay cash for it? They take the emotion out of car buying. And when they do buy, they often buy used instead of new, negotiate aggressively, keep cars for 7 to 10 years, maintain vehicles well to extend lifespan. Owning a car isn't about image. It's about efficiency and function. One stat from the book stands out. The most popular car brand among millionaires at the time of the study was Toyota, not BMW or Mercedes. That says a lot. Social pressure and keeping up. Here's where things get deeper. Many people fall into the keeping up with the Joneses trap, buying cars to impress coworkers, neighbors, even family. But millionaires break free from this pressure. They don't let other people's opinions dictate their spending. They understand that wealth is silent and debt is loud. If someone's flaunting their ride, their watch, their house, chances are they're not as financially secure as they look. Stanley and Danko observe that many millionaires live in middle-class neighborhoods, drive modest cars, and go unnoticed by choice, because they'd rather be financially independent than socially validated. Mindset shift. The core message of this chapter isn't just about cars. It's about identity. The world wants you to believe that what you drive defines your value. But real millionaires know that your car isn't your character, and your appearance isn't your net worth. By choosing wisely and resisting flashy purchases, they keep more of their money working for them, instead of sitting in the driveway, losing value every minute. So let's recap. You aren't what you drive. You're what you save, what you invest, and how you think. If you want long-term wealth, don't just earn like a millionaire, spend like one. Now here's the question for the next chapter. If millionaires live so modestly, where do they actually live, and why? In Chapter 5, Economic Outpatient Care, we'll explore how financial help from parents can actually destroy wealth, not build it. Chapter 5, Economic Outpatient Care, EOC. Most people believe that giving your adult children financial help, gifts, allowances, or down payments is an act of love. But the Millionaire Next Door reveals a surprising truth. Economic outpatient care often destroys wealth rather than builds it. Millionaires who received little or no financial assistance from their parents turned out to be more financially independent. Why? Because money that's earned teaches discipline and value. Money that's given freely often creates dependence, entitlement, and bad spending habits. Parents who give too much hurt their children's ability to budget wisely, take responsibility, delay gratification. In contrast, children who receive minimal financial support often become better at managing their careers, savings, and investments. The book warns, giving financial help can feel generous, but it may quietly sabotage your child's future independence. Curious question for the next video. If giving your kids money doesn't help, what should parents really teach their children about building wealth? Let's answer that in Chapter 6. Chapter 6, Affirmative Action Family Style. In this chapter, Stanley and Danko discuss how wealthy families can actually empower their children, not through money, but through values and education. Instead of handing out cash, successful millionaires teach kids how to live below their means, encourage careers that align with strengths, not just status, instill discipline and budgeting from a young age, talk openly about money, responsibility, and long-term goals. The core principle is, raise children to be economically self-sufficient. Wealth is not just passed down through inheritance. It's passed down through mindset, habits, and behavior. One standout lesson from this chapter. Children of self-made millionaires are more likely to become wealthy when they are taught to build, not receive. Leading into the next chapter, now that we've seen how values shape wealth, what about careers? Chapter 7, Find Your Niche. This chapter breaks the myth that only high-paying jobs create millionaires. In reality, many wealthy individuals are small business owners, self-employed professionals, niche service providers. Think about it. Auctioneers, pest control operators, mobile home park owners, and used car dealers were among some of the most consistently wealthy people the authors interviewed. Why? Because these people found profitable, overlooked niches, and they focused on value creation and consistent saving, not status. They typically had high control over their income, faced less competition, managed expenses tightly, had simple lifestyles. It's not about choosing a career that impresses people. It's about choosing a field where you can excel, grow, and control your financial destiny. Key message: millionaires don't follow the crowd. They find their niche. So now you know how millionaires choose their careers. But what about their spouses? Is there a millionaire mindset when it comes to marriage? In the next chapter, we'll break down Chapter 8, Jobs, Millionaires versus Heirs, where the authors reveal how the type of partner you choose can either multiply your wealth or drain it. Stay tuned. Chapter 8, Jobs, Millionaires versus Heirs. This chapter compares self-made millionaires who earn their wealth through work, discipline, and smart choices versus heirs who receive large financial gifts or inheritance. The key difference? Mindset and behavior. Self-made millionaires often choose stable, practical jobs, live well below their means, build long-term financial plans, but many heirs choose careers based on interest, not income, rely on support from family wealth, are more likely to become UAWs, under-accumulators of wealth. The book reveals a surprising pattern. The more financial help children receive from wealthy parents, the less likely they are to accumulate wealth themselves. In fact, many heirs spend more than they earn and end up with less net worth over time, even after inheritance. Millionaires often choose partners who are frugal, Financially responsible, aligned with long-term values, because wealth building is not a solo game, it's a team effort. Core lesson: if you want to build and keep wealth, focus less on what you inherit and more on how you think, work, and live. So far, we've learned how millionaires work, save, live, and even choose their careers and spouses. But what's their actual formula for success? In Chapter 9, Economic Achievers versus Income Statement Affluent, we'll finally compare the financial habits of the truly wealthy and those who just look rich. Chapter 9. Economic Achievers versus Income Statement Affluent. There are two types of high earners. 1. Income Statement Affluent, ISA, high income, big house, expensive cars, designer clothes, but low net worth. They spend most or all of what they earn. 2. Balance sheet affluent, BSA. May have moderate income, live below their means, save and invest regularly, have high net worth, they accumulate wealth over time. The key lesson? Being rich isn't about what you earn, it's about what you keep. Millionaires tend to be balance sheet affluent. They measure success not by income or lifestyle, but by net worth and freedom. The ISAs often get caught in the earn more, spend more cycle. BSAs master the earn, save, invest, repeat mindset. Real-world example: a doctor earning $300,000 per year but spending $290,000 is less wealthy than a used car dealer earning $90,000 and investing 40% of it. Wealth is not about income level. It's about financial behavior. Powerful takeaway: true millionaires focus on their balance sheet, not their status. So now you know how real millionaires manage money better than high spenders. But how do they raise kids who don't grow up entitled? In Chapter 10, Planning and Controlling, we explore how millionaires use specific strategies to plan their financial future and pass on smart values to the next generation. Chapter 10, Planning and Controlling. Millionaires focus on long-term financial planning. They set clear goals and follow through with action. Here's what they do differently. Budget religiously. They track every dollar and avoid impulsive spending. Control lifestyle inflation. As income grows, they don't blow it on luxuries. Invest consistently. They keep money working for them through smart investments. Plan for the future. Retirement, emergencies, taxes. Everything is accounted for. Another big factor is self-control. Millionaires delay gratification and avoid debt traps. They also pass these values to their families, ensuring the next generation understands money management. Key lesson: wealth isn't about luck or inheritance, it's about consistent planning and self-discipline. So if planning and control are so crucial, how do millionaires handle risk and unexpected challenges? In the next video, we'll explore the secret habits and mindset that keep millionaires resilient, no matter what life throws at them. Chapter 11, Conclusion and Final Lessons. The authors remind us that becoming a millionaire isn't about luck, fancy cars, or flashy lifestyles. It's about living below your means, working hard, and making smart financial decisions every single day. Key final lessons. Frugality is a cornerstone. Millionaires are disciplined spenders. Avoid lifestyle inflation. Don't increase spending just because you earn more. Focus on net worth, not income or status. Real wealth shows up in your balance sheet. Choose your career and spouse wisely. They impact your financial future. Teach financial responsibility. Passing down money is less important than passing down values. Plan and control your money. Consistency beats occasional windfalls. This book proves that ordinary people with ordinary jobs and simple habits can become wealthy over time, as long as they're intentional. You don't need to be born rich or inherit wealth to become a millionaire. The millionaire next door could be your neighbor, your coworker, or even you. The power lies in your habits and choices. If you could start changing one money habit today, what would it be? Are you ready to think and act like a millionaire? Thanks for watching this series on the Millionaire Next Door. Subscribe to Intellect for more insights on smart money, investing, and wealth-building strategies.